It's great to be back in Northern Virginia, back home, and I want to thank you very much for coming today and supporting Don. And Alfonso, thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. But more importantly, thank you for your service, for what you're doing for the people of Arlington and Northern Virginia and the whole state.
Yeah,
thank you for your service. I'm delighted to be here to show my support for Don Shaw. But before I get to the race, I hope you'll let me take just a moment and let you know things are going really, really well in the Attorney General's office. I could not be prouder of the work our team has been able to do in just less than 2 years. From helping to bring marriage equality to Virginia. You know, we just celebrated 1 year of marriage equality in Virginia. Over 2,700 couples have been married, same-sex couples have been married in Virginia. Thousands and thousands of more have had their out-of-state marriages recognized, and both parents now are getting names on birth certificates. So we're making tremendous progress. And to help make sure that dreamers, the children of immigrants who have grown up here, gone to school here, and are doing well, can continue their education in their own home state.
Yeah.
And Alfonso mentioned that it's an important policy. It is good policy for a lot of reasons. And these are bright, talented students. They're hardworking, and it makes complete sense from a business standpoint and workforce development standpoint to encourage them to be a part of the next generation of skilled workers, researchers, and entrepreneurs. But it's also incredibly important for the dreamers themselves. And it has been extremely rewarding and gratifying to talk to the dreamers and listen to their stories about what this has meant to them and how glad and how happy they are that they're now able to go to college. I've talked to them from Virginia Tech students to VCU to so many places, and they are thrilled that they're able to stay in their home state. And we were the first state to come in and defend against a legal attack in a court of appeals up in Pennsylvania, our Chesapeake Bay cleanup plan.
Yes.
And I remember reading the paper just a few months after I was in office. One morning I was reading the Washington Post, having my cereal, and I read this headline: 21 state attorneys general filed amicus brief in support of striking down our Chesapeake Bay cleanup plan. I thought, what is this? And these are attorneys general from states like Alaska and Montana and Texas, none of whom, wonderful states, but none of whom actually touched any part of the Chesapeake Bay. And so I resolved right there that Virginia's voice was going to be heard, and we won. We had some other really good court victories. Toward the end of the term, the Supreme Court upheld another cynical challenge to the Affordable Care Act, and it was a case out of Virginia, of course. And my predecessor had actually filed a brief in support of the plaintiffs who are trying to take away the insurance subsidies from working Virginians who needed the subsidies in order to afford health insurance on the exchange. So when the case was appealed, and I was in office, we withdrew his brief. We filed our own on the side of the people, and the people who needed those subsidies in order to afford insurance, many of whom were getting insurance for the first time in their lives. We won in the Fourth Circuit, and we led the effort among the states to support it in the Supreme Court. We got 22 other states, plus the district, to join Virginia's brief, and we got a great victory toward the end of the term last term. So we're making tremendous progress. I could go on about some of the other things we've done. Corrected some really bad legal advice that my predecessor had given to the Board of Health. So we were able to correct that, and the Board of Health has taken some really important steps to repeal some regulations that threaten the closure of a lot of the women's health clinics around the state. And just earlier, day before yesterday, the day's been going by in a hurry. Earlier this week, I joined Governor McAuliffe and Senator Tim Kaine, where the governor was signing an executive order to take as many steps as he can as governor in order to address gun violence in Virginia. And so we're making a lot of progress on a lot of areas, and we are not backing off from a lot of public safety threats as well. Taking some important steps to address the spike in heroin and prescription drug overdose deaths that is in a crisis really here in Virginia, but also a lot of other states up and down the East Coast and Midwest. So we're taking on a lot of public safety challenges as well. So things are going great in the Attorney General's office, and you know, as I look around the room, I can see how many of you helped out in the campaign in 2013, and all those things I just talked about, none of them would be possible if it hadn't been for all of your hard work and support. So thank you very much for that, and I will never forget it. I'm sure you all have heard that when the time comes that I will be asking for another term in 2017, but that's a couple years off. We are now down to, what, 17, 18 days away? So we're coming down the home stretch on a really important election. Don Shaw is going to be a great delegate, and he's got a fantastic military record, and thank you for your service to our country. He's a family man. He's got the right sense of priorities. He is going to be a great delegate, especially compared to the current one. And Alfonso talked about a lot of some of Bob Marshall's positions about the Virginia currency and the other ones, and so I won't go into all of those. I'll just add maybe one or two more, like how he has led the effort to impeach me and has led the effort to disbar me because of some of the actions that I just talked about earlier. And I guess if there is an upside to something about Bob Marshall, it is that he is so extreme in his ideology, and that his own conservative Republican caucus in the House of Delegates doesn't really give him much credibility or clout, and so he's not able to accomplish very much. But it is too important to make sure that the district is represented as it should be. And that's why it's really important for all of you to get out and work as hard as you can the next couple of weeks for Don Shaw. He's going to be a great delegate, but he needs our help. We're down to 17 days. If you've already made a contribution to the campaign, thank you. If you're able to make another one, please do it. This is going to be a low turnout election. It's what's called an off year election. So turnout will probably be very low. And so you really need to get out, knock on doors, make phone calls, tell your friends, tell your neighbors. This is a really important election to help get Don Shaw elected.